Okay.
Shot and killed 42-year-old father of 7, Andrew Brown Jr.
Special advisor Ian Nelson's got one male, 42 years of age, gunshot to the back.
According to the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department, the shooting occurred as deputies who were wearing body cameras were executing warrants related to felony drug charges in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, last Wednesday morning.
If any of my deputies broke any laws or violated any policies that come out through this investigation, they will be held accountable.
Officials have released few details, but 7 sheriff's deputies have been placed on paid administrative leave during the investigation. A neighbor who says she witnessed the shooting says Brown did not pose a threat to the deputies when they opened fire.
He was nonviolent. Anybody that knew him would tell you that. He was driving away.
One of the attorneys representing Brown's family says they were told that investigators did not find any drugs or weapons at the scene. Brown's family is devastated by the loss.
And now I gotta live every day.
We've talked about serving warrants in this like incredibly violent capacity before on this stream and how damaging it is to the communities that these cops operate on. And how many like accidental fucking discharges occur, and how especially like serving warrants in this way for like drug offenses is insane because they just like do drug raids and you know blow your fucking door out, kill your dog. They flashbanged a baby before. A warrant does not mean you are guilty. A warrant certainly does not mean that you should be executed. Okay. Even if you are 100% dead to rights guilty and someone is serving a fucking warrant, that still does not mean the cop personally can operate as a judge, jury, and executioner. Okay? Kind of reactionary, but what are your thoughts? Wait, Dr. Umar went on the fucking Breakfast Club? Oh my God, that's going to be insane. That's going to be content. Oh, okay.
My newborn without even getting a chance to meet him at all. And that's gonna hurt me every day.
They will view the body cam footage later this morning and are calling for it to be released publicly for transparency and accountability.
It's inexplicable why when a black person, especially a black man, runs from the police, not posing any threat of violence to them, that they still see fit to shoot them in the back.
And later this morning, Brown's family will be viewing that video privately, and we expect to hear from them after they watch it. George?
Okay, Victor, thanks.
So they didn't release it. They didn't release it originally, and now it's been demanded by advocacy groups, but it still requires court approval to do so. So that's what people are waiting on, and obviously North Carolina has decided to, declare a state of emergency and gear up for potential unrest because they know what they did is fucked up. So. So right now, the sheriff, Tommy Wooten, is waiting on court approval currently, and people are asking him to resign. The chairman, Lloyd Griffin, supported him in this endeavor and said that the community should calm down. A ton of people don't know they have warrants against them until they interact with the police, usually in mundane situations. Well, in this situation, there is, very little details have been released, for the record. Very little details have been released. Okay? So we don't have a lot of information on like what happened exactly. But here's what the fucking sheriff had to say. Okay, here in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Here, let's watch what he had to say.
Today, that started at approximately 8:30 a.m. during a search warrant at 421 Perry Street.
So they're executing a search warrant. He said that they collected information from. I mean, dude, this is like the most sheriff motherfucker, dude. Holy shit. I mean, it is like the most it's just absolute thumb of a man.
By Pasquotank County Sheriff's deputies. Andrew Brown Jr. was fatally wounded during this search warrant. We do have body cameras, yes, and they were active. What I can confirm is this was a search warrant.
Yeah, look at how little information and detail they give about the situation. Like, every different state has a very different way. Gidiyor musunuz? Gitmeden bir gel, say hi to the camera. Come on. Come here, here. My grandparents are here. They were just chilling in the background. Sorry, we're gonna take a quick sidestep from the video to show you guys. That's my granddad, Dogan. Don Uygur. Say what's going on. And then this is Nico, my grandma. There it is. Bak 25.000 insan izliyor şu anda sizi. 25.600 gördüler hepsi. Hadi. Bye bye. Bye bye. They've just been, they've been hitting the town, painting the town red, boys. Just flexing that vax, dude. Not Nico, Nuko. Nuko. Those are they're Jenk's parents. And for those of you who said, like, do they understand what you do? Bro, they are literally Jenk's parents. Of course they understand what I do. Anyway, let's keep going. Why does she look exactly like your mom? I don't know. Maybe because she birthed her. All right, let's keep going.
This was a search warrant that was being...
I think it's cool how you're so old and you still have your grandparents around. Bitch, I'm 29. Like, I'm not fucking that old. What the fuck? What the fuck, dude?
Fulfilled.
And it is indeed a tragic day here in Pasquotank County.
Absolutely destroyed me. Okay, let's keep going.
What we're looking for at this time will be accurate answers and not fast answers. This will not be a rush to judgment. We're going to wait for that investigation as we're duty bound to do.
They're also very young. Like, they're young. My grandma is was like a young mom. I don't know exactly when she had my mom, but okay. Like my OG, my grandfather that I'm named after, Dogan is my middle name, named after the grandfather that you just saw, Hassan, my other grandfather. He passed away in 2009. So Hassan, if I was your age, 3/4 of my grandparents would have been dead halfway through my life. Okay, bro, what the fuck is this conversation? Stop. We're done with this convo. Oh my God, we are super done with this convo. Why are you guys doing this?
Police reform.
Oh my God, what a strange thing. You see my fucking happy ass grandparents, the first thing your mind goes to is like, oh well, death and destruction for me. That's where my mind goes. It's kind of weird. You're like a fucking flexing when your grandparents passed away. Please stop. Like, okay. Wait, hold on. Let's get back to the well, this is not I want another video on this the Andrew Brown video. But yeah, for the time being, there is not a lot of information. There's not a lot of details out on purpose, and that's it. Okay, this is what we got going on. Okay. Lee Carter thinks the precautions the city's taking could be a sign that body cam footage will be bad. I mean, yeah. Probably. Did you tell Nino you're done with RP on GTA? No, I did not tell Nino that at all. What the fuck? Dude. Like, Oh my God, dude. Everybody chill. Chill, okay? Not in the middle of a fucking story, especially. Jesus Christ. I can't believe that this is like... I never thought that this would happen. Like, I really never thought that this would happen. I didn't realize that there was going to be so many people that are, like, genuinely and legitimately upset. Okay, let's keep going. Remember, we were going to do like positive messages, and I was going to focus on the positive messages. Ruining the vibes that we're doing positive messages only. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, I do think that potentially, what is this? May 6th is finally here for you're in Malding. Yeah, May 6th is when we're going to do the podcast. Okay. We'll, yeah, the first episode, like full blown. Also, tomorrow I'm going on Michael Cohen's podcast as well. And I think I scheduled another podcast too on top of everything else. I believe I scheduled another podcast. I think I might go on Love It or Leave It too to promote the podcast as well. I got to do like a bunch of promos. So yeah, that's been like, I've been working on the back end on that for a while. So Rogan? No, Rogan. That's not how that works. You don't just fucking go on the Joe Rogan experience. Can I pay you $100 fucking to follow? No, don't do that. Okay. You do if you're a right winger? True. Anyway, so I think I've shit on Joe Rogan way too many times. It's just not happening. Like, there's no fucking way that Joe Rogan is gonna have me on his podcast. Yeah, the latest
Walk us through.
The latest news earlier was that the family was unable to view the footage because the police had to make redactions. They had to cover people's faces.
Body camera footage.
Well, they would like to see the body camera footage. They were led to believe that they would see it today. There is a delay. We're not sure how long that delay will last. Apparently, the sheriff's office has told the attorneys representing Andrew Brown's family that portions of the video need to be redacted, and they're talking about concealing the faces of the deputies who were on this event that took place that led to the death of Andrew Brown. So right now, about all we have is the opportunity to listen to what appears to be the one witness to what took place. Her name is Ashley Bechtel. She lives catty corner to the home where the police came in with their SWAT teams. She was at her window on the second floor looking out the window. Now, she says that she has been interviewed by the investigators following up on this. I have been unable to confirm that with the investigators. And it's also important to note that her child's father is cousin to the victim here. But all of that said, let's listen to what she says she saw as she looked out the window and saw the police arrived.
He was sitting in his car, and about that time, the police had pulled up behind him, and he started to drive off, and they started shooting, and you could see mud slinging up on the side of his house everywhere, and they shot out the back window of his car, and he lost control, and he ended up across the street in Mr. Mike's yard, and he hit a tree. They crowded around his car. They were shooting the front window of his car.
from where you were standing, did it appear that his car speeding away could be perceived as a threat to the officers where they were standing?
No, because they were standing behind him.
Behind him? There were no officers in front.
There was a truck behind him, and they got out.
Again, Ashley, back to...
Bro, listen, this is one victim's, this is one witness testimony. So it might be, the situation might be different because, firsthand accounts still are oftentimes not the most reliable in the cover of darkness and whatnot. But it does seem like pretty fucking regular fucking police procedure here. Real fucking animal hog shit, okay? Straight up. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, but obviously it's not going to be good. Obviously the fucking footage is not going to, is obviously not going to make the cops look good. They are trying to protect the identity of some of the deputies. It just sounds like a fucking literal execution.
All of this from the window on her second floor. I stood up there and there was a clear view of most of what she said she could see there. There was a portion where I believe the car would have been behind the house speeding out. I think the question that
the raid was over a drug warrant. Okay. It was potentially, look, again, super limited information at this time because the cops and the authorities have deliberately not revealed a lot of information. Okay? So I have to state this over and over again. No, not drug use, but from what I understand, there was a CI who was working with the cops on an ongoing drug case, and they had a search warrant. It's basically a fucking drug raid off of the statement of a confidential informant. Okay.
We're going to perhaps get answered when and if this videotape is released. This is the body cam from the police officers, is whether the vehicle was in reverse going towards the officers, thus feeling that they were being threatened by a deadly vehicle, a deadly device, so that they had to fire their weapons to defend themselves, or
they had to, boys.
They fired as the car was heading away from them. And again, this is one eyewitness. It's apparently the only eyewitness in the neighborhood.
It's great, dude. It's fucking insane. Just absolute fucking madness, dude. Hey, sorry. Search warrant means, that means you can get executed if you're driving away. It's great. At this point, it's like, if you're black, it's just automatic. Like, if you're black and you have a warrant out for your arrest, or if you have a search warrant, like, you can't put your fucking hands up. You can't just comply. You can't run away. You can't do anything. Like, it's just literally up to the cop. Okay? It is a death sentence, and it's literally up to the cop. Now, obviously, there are instances where that kind of violent does not occur. He didn't comply. Lol W. What? What the fuck? Dude, don't do baits like that, man. It's not fucking funny. Like, that's literally just not even fucking remotely funny, especially if you're a 16-month sub. Of course, they fucking did not, find anything. And I need to stress this again. Even if they had found something, even if they had found drugs and even weapons in the house, even if they actually, even if he was legitimately fucking trying to get away, drive away. None of that warrants an execution, okay? That is fucking insane. Absolutely fucking insane. Anyway. Yeah. But regardless of whether he had anything or not, do you even hear what you're saying? Yes, I do. If you have a search warrant, that does not mean cops can come to your house and execute you. If there's a warrant out for your arrest, that does not mean cops can come to your house and execute you. That is literally against the fucking law. Psychopaths who believe that cops should play judge, jury, and executioner should go live under the Duterte regime. Okay? Just let's do a transfer program with all the fucking Filipinos that do not want to live under an authoritarian, oppressive, proto-fascist state. Okay? We'll send all of the white hogs and we'll do a transfer program with all the Filipinos that want to fucking come here instead. Okay? You can go live under the death squads yourself, you dumb fuck. How about that? It's great. Not even proto-fascist, just straight fascist. There is no death warrant. There is, if you are constantly finding yourself defending cops, murdering people in situations like this, and there are instances where, like, even I have said that a police fucking using their gun could be warranted. Okay, it's not like I'm saying there are no instances where it's warranted, right? But if you find yourself literally defending cops in this situation, then, you know, maybe you should reconsider your priorities about what you love about America, because it's the same motherfuckers who are... You a what? What the hell is a FAGMO? What? Moron. Trade-off where you get the hogs, we get the good people in your country. Yeah, it's just like, let's do it, dude. I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know what the fuck's happening. I don't know if it's like I think it's an attempt at the F slur.
And a lot of things happen, and you know, with eyewitnesses, very often people think they see things that they don't. But I'm couching all of this to say this is the one person who says they saw what happened, and until we get the videotape, that's the best understanding of how we understand
Have fun with
things
that bait.
unfolded here.
7-month
Casey?
subscriber. Okay. So we're gonna move on from this until the viewing occurs, and we're gonna talk about the police reform agenda on Biden. On you know, Biden's police reform agenda. But before I move on to Biden's police reform agenda, it is top of the hour. So you already know it's there's a 60-second ad break here. If you want to no longer see the ads, you can subscribe. You can do that for $5 or for free. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Okay? You get one free Prime subscription a month. You can use it on your favorite streamer, or you can use it on me if you have a Prime ready. Here's the ad now. Okay. Let's wait for the body cam footage. I agree. I think we should wait for the body cam footage. I want to wait for the body cam footage. I still don't think, like, it is unlikely that no matter what the body cam footage shows, I'm going to agree with the cops. I just, like, I don't think that cops should be fucking doing drug busts like this, like raids like this, where they end up shooting people. I think there are incredibly violent. They should be held off for like very, very, very like the burden, the proof has to be super, super fucking high for a raid like this, in my opinion. Okay. Like not just like the word of a CI, and not just for like minor drug transactions or anything like that. Like there has to be like a hostage situation or some shit. You know what I mean? Like only then should you be able to do this. Okay? I'm sorry. I do think that I do think that the burden of proof should be incredibly high to facilitate these sorts of raids, these sorts of like drug warrants or you know, search warrants. And the protocols should be incredibly limited. Like Lord Almighty Sauce, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Have you seen the breadtooth shit going around? People, Twitter trying to cancel Lindsay Ellis, ContraPoints, Vosh, etc. Yeah, I don't really care. I am on an island of my own. I've always been on an island of my own. That's why you don't really see me on those fucking tier lists. What? I really don't like ACAB. I understand that a number of police departments have bad officers and police departments are often underfunded. What? I mean, he's just an idiot. He's not saying anything terrible. I'm not going to fucking ban him for that. What are you, crazy?
Will be on President Biden.
Yeah, Twitter cancels people fucking all the time. Who gives a shit? Fuck him.
Biden's agenda when he speaks to a joint session of Congress this week. As he's approaching his first 100 days in office, our new ABC News Washington Post poll finds Biden's overall job approval at 52%. That's higher than Trump's 42%, but much lower than Obama's 69%, and among the lowest for any president in their first 100 days since World War II. Biden receives high marks for his handling of the pandemic, and he prepares to lay out his next top priorities. Here's ABC's White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks.
Tonight, President Biden preparing to address a joint session of Congress where he'll lay
I'm actually kind of surprised that his approval rating is low. I know Felix talked about this as well. Chapo Felix talked about this as well. On one of the Chapo episodes that I had the time to finally listen to. But, and this isn't necessarily, about like how progressive any particular president has been, but he was saying like Biden is the most progressive president of our lifetimes. And yes, that even includes Obama. And that is kind of true. And it's not necessarily to say Biden is more progressive than Obama because he's so progressive, but more so that Obama was not as progressive as he said he was going to be. So that's fucking insane to say, isn't it? Not necessarily. If of our lifetimes, chat, of our lifetimes in contemporary American presidencies, stop fucking comparing it to FDR and shit. We are talking about like we're talking about like since Reagan, okay? Post Reagan. Okay? So, I mean, he's greatly disappointed me with the $15 minimum wage battle being dropped at the last second. It's like only eating lemons and then eating a fucking grapefruit and saying it's the sweetest. That's actually a really good analogy. I'm going to steal that. It's literally like that. It is exactly like that. Oh my God, what a wonderful analogy. Thank you. Yes. Good one, chatter. It's literally that. Okay? So Joe Biden is relatively popular. What's really interesting about his approval rating is that, hold on one second. I'm gonna pull something up here. So right now, he has the highest favorability rating among the 18 to 29-year-old Americans of any first-term president over the 21 years that this Harvard poll has been out. This youth poll has been conducted. The Harvard Institute of Politics is out this morning with a new poll of 18 to 29-year-old Americans, and some of the results are fascinating. Biden has the highest favorability rating amongst this group of any first-term president over the 21 years this poll has been conducted. 56% of young Americans are hopeful about the country's future, including 72% of black people and 69% of Hispanic people. Young Americans are more politically active than they used to be, and there's a big increase in progressive views. Now, part of that is because it's post-Trump. The juxtaposition post-Trump is always going to be always going to be a big reason. Except for obviously the young honorary Turks like Felix Biederman, whose name now is the Orlando gentrifier. He said, "Joe Biden, cocksucker of a dog, TR, you are lower than the shit of the day." Felix has been Turk posting a lot. Much respect. You are lower than the shit of the day. Here's a way that Joe Biden could instantly skyrocket his approval ratings even further. That is student debt cancellation. Why have we still not gotten student loan debt cancellation? What the fuck, Jack? Why? Mac, cancel them goddamn loans, Jack. Cut the malarkey. Anyway, more than 10K. In particular, he's exceeded my expectations on austerity and welfare. He's been good. He's done exactly what I expected on healthcare, not prioritizing it, which is too bad, but I understand the politics, and below my expectations on things like immigration. Yeah, it's pretty much, this tracks with literally everything I feel about Joe Biden as well. Straight up anti-austerity approach, actually fucking tackling Republican grievances or rolling over Republican grievances quite easily. And not like doing that fake like, oh, but we need to do unity in the country, and then like literally fucking trying to abide by Republican expectations. Partially that's because of Kyrsten Sinema and also Joe Manchin, these two fucking demons that have been taking up a lot of mental space, occupying a lot of mental space in the Democratic Party. But you know, as I literally called, I don't know where it is, I've tweeted about this numerous times, and a lot of neoliberals were upset at me. I said, I don't think Joe Biden is going to push for the public option. I don't think Joe Biden is going to push for the public option. Everyone's like, shut the fuck up. You're wrong. You're wrong. He loves the public option. He wants to fucking marry the public option. He wants to do a gay marriage with the public option, Jack. What happened? I don't see no public option. They've literally not brought it up at all. As I had said before. Okay. You know, and dog shit on immigration for the most part, specifically because they are literally following through on a lot of the they're following through on a lot of the Trump policies, like as expected of the Democrats. They're pulling the regular Democrat line on immigration.
out the promises for his next 100 days in office and beyond. His big push now, that massive $2 trillion infrastructure plan. The president says it will create millions of jobs. It's a plan the majority of Americans support. But as the nation deals with a surge of mass shootings, advocates are pressing the White House to do more to curb gun violence.
We actually, as an administration, have taken action. There is only so much, however, that a president can do through executive action.
The administration calling on Congress to step up on gun reform and police reform. Lawmakers hopeful for a bipartisan compromise there. The president planning Wednesday to talk about the issue of police reform and racial justice. Today, Senator Lindsey Graham denying that there is systemic racism in policing.
We just elected a two-term African-American president.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, brother. Hey, we got a black in the White House. What do you fucking want? What are you talking about? There's no systemic racism. Get the fuck out of here.
So our systems are not.
But also simultaneously, BLM started under Obama because, Obama was terrible for the black Americans. And that's why we need Donald Trump again. We need Donald Trump to come back because Donald Trump was good for African Americans. Nothing happened. No racial tensions occurred under Donald Trump, whereas they did occur under Obama.
Not racist. America is not a racist country.
And the country divided on immigration as record numbers of migrants cross the southern border, overwhelming the federal government. Vice President Kamala Harris saying there is not a quick solution.
Listen, if this were easy, it would have been handled years ago. Extreme weather conditions has had a huge impact on one of their biggest industries, which is agriculture.
Straight up, this is 100% true. I've talked about this already. Climate crisis migrants are going to become more and more commonplace. That is a gigantic destabilizing factor. There's a gigantic destabilizing factor there with agricultural production getting eviscerated by extreme weather conditions, and that is an inevitability, and it's getting worse and worse year over year. So, that's
parents, and if children cannot literally eat, if they cannot have the basic essential things that everyone needs to live, of course they're going to flee, and that's what we're saying.
Lindsay, Republicans this weekend as focused on the ideas for paying for the president's proposals as the proposals themselves, objecting to tax increases on corporations or high earners. But this week, a group of Republicans did send the White House a counteroffer on infrastructure spending, so some negotiations are ongoing. Lindsay?
Mary Alice reporting in from the White House for us. Thank you. And a programming note, ABC News will provide live coverage of President Biden's address to a joint session of Congress on Wednesday night. I'll join David Muir and our powerhouse political team beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern here on ABC.
Oh, shit. Fuck. Oh, here's the Bill Gates COVID fucking video that we're going to look at in a little bit. 100 days. How does Biden's approval rating rank? Steve Kornacki's breaking down the numbers.
What can you tell us? I'm so happy to see you.
I'm glad to see you as always too, Stephanie. Let's go through the numbers. First of all, you can see it right here. What's Biden's job approval rating basically 100 days in? In our poll, it clocks in at 53%. In that low 50% range, that's been pretty steady for this early phase of the Biden presidency. What can you say about that? You can say two things about it, I think. Number one, if you compare him to his immediate predecessor, Donald Trump in his entire 4 years as president never got above 50% in terms
of... Oh, sick, dude. I mean, yeah, no shit. Obviously.
Of job approval.
Like, comparing, Steve gets so much puss. Oh, absolutely. 100%. And he deserves it. Or bus if he's gay. I don't know what his orientation is, but hey, he deserves all of it and more. I gotta sneeze. Oh, Jesus, that was a big one.
Biden has been over 50% consistently for the first 100 days of his presidency. That number also, that 53%, low 50% range, that is also below what his other modern predecessors, non-Trump predecessors, were getting at this point. So it's sort of in between for Joe Biden. If we go a little bit deeper into the numbers here, here's another way of looking at it. The positive negative score. We just showed you the job approval. This is about your personal feelings towards Joe Biden. And you can see here in our poll, 50% positive, 36% negative. Put that in some context, some other things that we polled here on this same question. The Democratic Party, a little bit underwater there, 39 positive, 41 negative. The Republican Party, significantly underwater, 32, 46 negative. And then Donald Trump, you don't necessarily hear or see from him as much, but certainly he's still very present in our politics. Trump, a 32% positive, 55% negative rating. So put Biden.
This is literally never changed. Like, it danced around 32 to 33 the entire time. Like, it's just at this point, 33% of the fucking people polled always just love Donald Trump. Like, a third of the country is just like, yeah, I fuck with him. And it literally never changed. Like, from the beginning to end, they held so strong. They're just like, no, brother, I love him. I love him, brother. You will never get me to hate him. It's crazy.
Biden's positive score there. In that context, you can also look at this. We asked folks, how would you say Biden has started as president? Would you call it a good or great start? Would you call it more of a fair or poor start? More chose fair or poor. Now, we can compare this to his most recent predecessors because we asked the same question at the same point in the Trump presidency. So you see 44% say that Biden's off to a great or good start. At this same point 4 years ago, 35% said that about Donald Trump. So a higher rating there for Biden than Trump. But if you go back 8 years before Trump to April 2009, when Barack Obama was president, that was 54. So again, Biden is in between Trump and what came before Trump.
Okay, this analysis is so dumb if it doesn't come with commentary, but I guess Steve is not supposed to do that. He's the analysis guy. I think overall, in a post-Trump world, with Joe Biden pumping out fucking vaccines like crazy, like he has so many positives working for him. You have the coronavirus in the rear view mirror for a lot of the country. It's like, actually, even for people who care about this stuff, you know, non-Republican men, just anyone who's not like a fucking hog conservative. Even for a lot of those people, like, they are looking at COVID, not from an international perspective. Obviously, we're talking about Americans. Dial it back. We're not talking about India. COVID is in the rearview mirror. A lot of people are getting vaccinated. Okay, so much so that we've gotten to a point where, we're getting to a point where people are just not taking the vaccines. Like, they're not getting it. That's the main problem now. America isn't past it either. What the fuck, my friend? America is probably one of the few countries on the planet that is like able to literally say, we are doing a good job dealing with vaccinations. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, at this point, we're doing very well. We kept all of the vaccines. Anyway, I mean, just, you know, have normal expectations. 75% of the country doesn't want to get vaccinated, though. That's not true. That's a fake number that you made up. 40% of the country has already gotten their first vax, like eligible. 40% of the people that are over the age of 18, I think, or over the age of 16 has gotten at least their first vaccination. 75% not wanting to get the vaccine is just a made up number that you just literally made up. Or 55 now? The people that are not getting vaccines at this stage are people that have vaccine hesitancy. Okay, in places like Los Angeles, in order to mitigate certain communities, like black and brown communities not getting enough vaccines. There are special programs rolling out like pop-up vaccinations in neighborhoods where there aren't a lot of vaccines, in neighborhoods where people aren't getting vaccines. They're making it as, these people are trying to make it as convenient as possible. So that is a plus. Congratulations to the Biden administration for not fucking this up. Okay, they did a pretty solid job with beefing up the vaccine production on top of the pre-existing production and the deals that we had made with Pfizer and Moderna and even Johnson & Johnson. But then also, so that's like an automatic W. But on top of that, the big stimulus bill was another W, despite the fact that the $15 minimum wage was not tagged along to it, and that wasn't great. And also, he's not Donald Trump. So those are just working in his favor, even if he doesn't do anything, right? So when adjusted to that, I do find it rather odd that his approval rating is not higher than it is currently. Anyway, the U.S. is also going to share AstraZeneca vaccines once it passes its safety check. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, June 15, California is going to fully open. Like, California is like slated to fully open in June. And California is doing a really good job with vaccines. People are caring more about healthcare and immigration right now, in my opinion. I think that's why. Immigration is 37%. If he gets that under control, he's mooning to 60 plus. His foreign policy is so dog shit, it's insane. Yes, but Americans don't give a fuck about foreign policy. Let's be real, dude. Like, Americans don't give a single fuck about foreign policy. His foreign policy is dog shit, though. That is true. Like, it is mind-boggling how Joseph Robinette Biden has been able to basically continue Trump-era shit. Like, straight up. Trump-era foreign policy nearly all the way. It is wild. Whether it be our treatment of Cuba, whether it be our treatment of Iran, it is legitimately mind-boggling that Joe Biden's I mean, it's not mind-boggling. It's just that American foreign policy is always going to be war-focused and imperialist. It is just, that throne is not going to change no matter who's sitting on it. He hasn't done anything about college debt. It's true. That's not great either. Yeah, no, I mean, it's mind-boggling because, like, it's wild that they just haven't done anything different. Like, they're placing the emphasis, or they're placing the fucking, Maddie's criticizing China, LMAO, Cope, genocide denier, wait, what? What? I literally did not even bring up China. What? Biden also rejoined the climate agreement and will stay in the World Health Organization. Like, those are gimmies, right? Those are bare minimum. The announcements, yeah, I know the new census info is dropping. I'm aware. The announcements that came from the climate change summit that he's been holding were basically just reaffirming Obama level, like Paris Climate Change Agreement protocols. So, you recognize the Armenian genocide that's far better than Trump and even some Justice Dems? Well, there's only one Justice Dem you're referencing, and that's Ilhan Omar, I think, and she abstained. But yeah, no, that's he recognized the Armenian genocide. Okay. Like, the reasoning behind why his recognition of the Armenian genocide is good, but the reason why he's doing it isn't necessarily because of some genuine slant towards justice. He's doing it specifically so that he can add additional pressure to another regional power. Like, that's it. That's literally it. Like, that's the only reason why he did it. I criticized Ilhan Omar at the time when she abstained, by the way. I did. I think the real reason why she abstained at the time is because of Somalia's relationship with Turkey. I'm gonna keep it real. Like, why do you think college debt should be canceled? I'm not informed on this issue. Because it's crippling and it would be a great economic benefit to millions of Americans. Anyway, my dad says a student debt cancellation is too much for the economy. I know that's not true. It's literally not true. Like, it's a basically the Armenian genocide recognition on behalf of Biden is just a stylistic choice for him to avoid answering for so many other things that they're doing in the region, right? So he's like, "Oh, what do you mean, Jack? Come on, Mac. We recognize the genocide. Why? Also, at the same time, like, pay no attention to what we're doing with Iran." That's it. Anyway. Everything that's going on in Saudi Arabia's dealing with Yemen, straight up, is continuing. There is no rollback of our relationship with Israel with regards to annexation of Golan Heights, or with regards to Israel's territorial expansion into the West Bank, with regards to Israel refusing to distribute vaccines to Palestinians, with regards to the embassy moving to Jerusalem. None of the Trump era policies on none of the Trump era foreign policy measures that were reactionary in nature have been rolled back in any capacity. It's just a talking point for you to be like, well, he did recognize the Armenian genocide. Okay. It's easy. It's right, but it's easy. It's not like it's not a big deal in comparison to the active and ongoing things that America is involved in. Feel me? It matters a lot of people that he did, though. No, I agree. It's a good thing. But we are talking about it on a grander scope. Degendering, you're upset at the Turkish guy who thinks Ilhan Omar should have voted yes on the Armenian genocide resolution? Oh, yeah. That was, someone was saying I was fucking being, like, real white or some shit. On that take. Okay, anyway. Missed the point. It was an easy thing to do and follows the lines he's drawing geopolitically. Yeah, that's the point I'm making. It's literally what I'm saying is that it is. Anyway, let's just keep going. Joe Manchin, I'm not a roadblock to Biden's agenda. Joe Manchin did an interview.
His first address to a joint session of Congress this week and lay out his priorities to a nation still fighting a pandemic and exhausted by a string of mass shootings while coming to a reckoning on racial justice. Biden's big sell to rebuild and reinvent the nation's infrastructure.
Joe Manchin.
Joining me now for an exclusive interview is the man who holds the key in the Senate to whether any of that can get done, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Thank you so much.
I feel like this motherfucker loves the position he's in, dude. I really do. I feel like he loves being the center of attention.
Much for coming in. Nice to see you
with you
in person.
Yeah, it's great to be in the studio again.
Yeah. So you said this week the best chance for bipartisan infrastructure is to focus on what you call conventional infrastructure: roads, bridges, water, broadband. Key Republicans introduced a proposal, $600 billion, targeted to the issues you're talking about. Do you support it?
That's a good start. It really is. And I'm glad they did it because it came out of BPW committee, which is Tom Carper's the chairman, and my colleague Shelley Capito is basically the ranking member. And they've worked it together, so we know it has bipartisan support. We just have to look to see if we've gotten everything in there that we need, and we'll be working on that together. So I'm very, very pleased with that. And this is the way we start negotiations. They've put their best foot forward, but it's a starting point. It's not the finishing line.
So you say that, and clearly there is a lot of work to do, but I want to ask kind of more of a big picture, because there seems to be a bit of a disconnect on how to define infrastructure here. President Biden has broader ambitions. He, for example, has a plan inside his big proposal that includes $400 billion for in-home care for elderly Americans and those with disabilities, also billions more for child care facilities. Do you support that?
Well, here's the thing. All the things that he has stated that's needed is needed. To what extent we have to go in that and go through the process of having our hearings and looking at a markup in a committee and then having professionals come in, going to the floor with an amendment process. By that time, you're going to have all different sides coming to agree, hopefully to agree on something. Just take what we just did last week, which was the hate crimes bill. Who would have thought we'd have gotten 94-1? Think about it.
America's so wonderful. Think about it, folks. America's so wonderful that even a totally purely symbolic bill, even though it's a totally purely symbolic bill that will just appoint a single person, or a committee rather, to investigate hate crimes against Asians at a time when hate crimes against Asians are on the rise. You know, there's still a guy out there that you can count on who will turn around and say, I'm Josh Hawley, and I don't think we should have a person investigating anti-Asian hate crimes. But outside of that, come on. America got together and said, yes. American senators did.
About that. People wouldn't have expected Democrats and Republicans.
It was a good bill. Why are you shitting on it? Bro, bills like that are literally straight up bills that basically say racism is bad bill. Okay? It is a gimme. It is a bill that everyone is supposed to vote yes on. Okay? That's it. It's a nothing bill. It is just virtue signaling. That's such a fucking low goddamn bar that the tangible material consequences of a bill like that might potentially be good in the long run. You know, who knows what that committee is going to look like? Who knows what these investigations will bear out? Okay, it could be good, but it's straight up. It's not. You're not doing anything. It's not like it's not controversial. It's not supposed to be controversial. It's just pure performance. So of course they're all gonna fucking vote yay on it.
To be in unison on that, and we did, but it had a process on the floor.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's hard to find bipartisanship, but one would think that condemning hate crimes against Asian Americans,
you would think
and
all
others,
these things make sense,
right?
Okay,
but these are real policy.
Well, these policies here. That's
so do you think that those?
I think they should be separated.
You do.
I do think they should be separated because when you start putting so much into one bill, which we call an omnibus bill,
he's such a piece of shit, dude. Like, I I mean, listen, he's signaling that he's very much in support of infrastructure, right? Like, because infrastructure is very popular, bipartisan popularity for voters, no matter what. For obvious reasons, America's infrastructure is dog shit. But, and that's a big but, he's doing the Republican defense, which is, well, you know, a lot of these things are not considered infrastructure, and yet it's a part of the infrastructure package. We should just not do that. It's like, what he's saying here is in a lot of ways no different than what Republicans have said.
Makes it very, very difficult for the public to understand. When you talk about infrastructure, they understand infrastructure. Internet is a new infrastructure that we didn't have before, and it should be. But you're talking about transit, airports, rail systems, the lines as far as our electricity, which is the grid system. All of these things need upgraded. We have to make sure with the new energy coming on that we're able to get it to market. So all of this has to be incorporated. That's infrastructure, what we would call traditional infrastructure. The human infrastructure is something that we're very much concerned about. And when you think about all that we have done in the last year, and plus the COVID bill this year, American Rescue Plan, an awful lot has been done there too. So we have to see what the effects of all that is.
So just to be clear, it sounds like you're supporting a smaller package with what you deem traditional infrastructure.
More targeted, Donna.
And would you tackle everything else with 51 votes through the reconciliation process?
No. If people would just think about, if we go through the process that we're supposed to, we never used to use filibuster, and reconciliation is only used for budget. And that's why you have the guardrails put on.
Okay. But you also recognize that the filibuster is abused to the degree where you are on board with the filibuster being a crippling and punishing act to engage in, as in you literally have to stand. If you literally have to be present, you can't just like simply say that you're going to filibuster something with a threat of a filibuster and try to like avoid actually bringing something to the floor and like shaving down legislation. So you already recognize that filibuster is abused. So taking this position here, I really fucking get annoyed by. He's the Mr. Both Sides. He loves being on top of that fence, dude.
On with the bird rule. So we have to get back to getting it into the committees, let the committee chair and the members of those committees work it in jurisdictions, whichever it comes to. I'm chairman of energy projects would come to me, then we would work it, give it back to the majority leader. They put it on the floor with an open amendment process that's germane. Once you go through all of that,
infrastructure spending or infrastructure programs have to have energy at its heart. I think it's fucking idiotic to separate infrastructure and energy. It is psychotic to separate infrastructure and energy. Infrastructure is all about energy. Okay? That's one. The only thing you can say is maybe the care stuff. Okay? Maybe like elderly care being a part of the infrastructure package in an effort to ensure that it gets safe passage through the omnibus is one reason why the Democrats are doing it. Calling it out is kind of you being an asshole if you're a Democrat. Republicans are supposed to do that. And then you're supposed to say, it doesn't matter, it's a popular policy. And then Republicans are supposed to say, if it's so popular, then try to pass it alone as a standalone bill. And it's like, no, you're just trying to gridlock, blah, blah, blah. Like that back and forth is supposed to happen between Republicans and Democrats. But Joe Manchin doing that for the Republican Party is really annoying. Joe Manchin constantly fucking playing this role basically operates as a lightning rod for all the negative criticism, allows the Republicans to get away with bullshit fucking opinions without a lot of political pressure put on them. It really annoys the fuck out of me. It makes me so mad.
You know, Bob Byrd, when he was majority leader, used to keep us here Friday night, Saturday until we got it.
That was a long time ago.
Well, but still, yeah, things
different
work.
Culture.
Things work.
President Biden is going to give his first speech to Congress this week. He's
building space for an aging population is pretty fair to include in infrastructure. No, I think it is. I think all of it should be included in infrastructure. I think Joe Biden's infrastructure package does not go far enough, specifically on expenditure for energy. for like installation of solar panels and like investing into green energy initiatives. I don't think it goes far enough. I think they should spend more money on it specifically, but that stuff is like directly related to infrastructure, whereas the care, like the elderly care part of the elderly care component of the infrastructure package is I can see why people would make an argument that it's not literally infrastructure. Do you see what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter. I don't give a shit. Fuck them. It's a good fucking bill. It's a good proposal. Put it in there. Who gives a shit? I don't fucking care. Republicans do that all the time. Democrats do as well. It's all posturing. It's all bullshit theater. For Republicans to be like, oh, it's not literally infrastructure, but you keep calling it an infrastructure bill because elderly people are going to get living space and there's going to be more opportunities for elderly care and like training programs. That's not infrastructure. Who cares? Dumbass. Who cares? It's a good bill. Is it a good bill or is it not a good bill? Shut the fuck up. Like, it is bullshit. That is not a legitimate opposition. Okay?
Going to call for higher taxes on the wealthiest Americans in order to combat poverty and expand childcare. 1 in 5 children in your home state of West Virginia live in poverty. So do you think that raising taxes to help those who need it most?
I think we can find a balance, but when you have reports from professionals that say that $400 billion to $1 trillion not even collected in the loopholes we've eviscerated the IRS. They don't have the guts or basically the firepower they had before. All
respect. Fucking, hey, that's a good ass take, dude.
This thing should be explored before we start just raising taxes exponentially.
I don't necessarily agree with like raising taxes exponentially before we fund the IRS, but I do believe in funding the IRS. Absolutely. He's right about saying that we gutted the IRS. He's absolutely right about that. The problem is he's using that as a cudgel to fucking literally refuse raising the corporate tax rate. You piece of shit. The corporate tax rate is not even being raised to the level it was 3 years ago. You fucking asshole. Fuck you. Do both. You can do both at the same time. Motherfuckers love saying we can walk and chew gum at the same time.
So you don't support raising taxes at all right now?
Oh yeah, I always support. Basically, I'm supporting anything that makes common sense and is reasonable. But if you're just saying raising taxes for
so raising taxes back to the levels it was at 3 years ago for corporations, that's not reasonable? Just ask that question, please.
Of raising taxes.
Come on,
and
Dana
not
Bash!
collecting what taxes have already been owed, and we're not.
What if you did it
loopholes.
together?
Well, you look at everything together and make sure, and you look at basically the scope of the program of how much they want, and see if that's necessary or needed.
I guess my question is, if there's somebody out there.
You can't be a deficit hawk and then simultaneously complain about raising taxes, okay? So that's one. Like, you can't literally be like, sorry, I'm a deficit hawk, so I don't know if we're going to be able to do this kind of spending. And then also be like, well, also, we can't be raising taxes. Like, it doesn't make sense. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? You literally have to, if you're a deficit hawk, that comes along with raising taxes, okay? If you're like a legitimate deficit hawk, then you should be wanting to raise taxes.
Are wondering if their taxes are going to, if they're wealthy, you know, part of the half of the top 1%, wondering, are my taxes going to be raised? And looking to you, Joe Manchin, to answer that question. What's the answer? Oh,
I think that basically you will be paying your fair share if your taxes are raised. But basically, have you been paying your taxes at all? The way you're able to report being in the super wealthy, or have you been able to use different pass-throughs and different bypasses or loopholes that have been in the system? We're going to close all those. We have to.
Senator, I talk to Democrats who tell me the reason President Biden's ambitious agenda is so big and so bold is because they understand history. And history shows that the president's party, if they have majorities in Congress, as he does, oftentimes lose that in the midterm elections. And that's why they have a small window to get things done they believe is possible. So they believe that you're one of the main roadblocks on getting those goals accomplished. How do you respond to that?
I'm not a roadblock at all. The best politics is good government. I can't believe that people believe that if you just do it my way, and that'll give us the momentum to get through the next election. But when you do something that everyone tags on to, and I've seen good things happen, that people voted against it, took credit for it when they went back home. We won't give this system a chance to work. I am not going to be part of blowing up this Senate of ours, or basically this democracy of ours, or the republic that we have. If we have a 51 vote threshold in the Senate, the same as the House wasn't designed to be partisan. The House was designed to be hot as a firecracker. We were designed.
I really hate, I really hate Joe Manchin. He's such a piece of shit. Like, he basically gives the game away when he says, like, policy's only good if there's, policy should be measured by the amount of Republicans that are on board with it. And if no Republicans are on board with it, then it must not be good policy. It doesn't fucking matter. There's no reason to read the policy. There's no reason to read legislation. It's just like, how many Republicans are going to be involved in the part of this, in the making of this, despite the fact that he, just like everyone else, fucking literally knows that Republicans only aesthetically claim that they're on board with legislation, specifically so they can shave it and neuter it or add a bunch of pork onto it, okay? With absolutely zero interest in voting for it. They are obstructionist. So are the Democrats, by the way. Whatever the minority party is, whatever the party not in power is, always nowadays plays the role of the obstructionist party. Actually, Democrats don't do it as much as Republicans do. I wish they did when they were the minority party, but, you know, it doesn't even fucking matter for the most part.
Designed to cool it off. And that's the founding fathers. It was a brilliant, brilliant strategy they looked at. So why can't we try to make this work? If you have the violent swings every time you have a party change, then we will have no consistency whatsoever.
I want to ask you about the issue of guns. You're talking a lot about.
Chatter, who brought up Ryan Grimm's point, great point, brilliant point. He said Obama never threatened Joe Lieberman's committee positions. So why is Joe Biden not threatening Joe Manchin's committee positions? I do not know. I don't know if it would even work, though. I think he's like, he likes this. He likes being this guy. By the way, the modern way that the filibuster is utilized is again, it's a relatively new way of filibustering in some bitches. So it's not even like a lot of the things that the fucking founders intended did not go along the way that the founders had intended them to be used, okay? Like black people voting, okay? Or being recognized as full human beings. I hate this fucking conversation, dude. Or women, actually. Literally women. And non-landowners. It just blows my fucking mind. This argument is so dumb. Okay? Ben Shapiro made a similar argument when he was talking about DC statehood. It's so stupid. Like, stop being like, oh, the founders never intended this to happen. It's like, motherfucker, what did they intend to happen? They couldn't even foresee a life where they would live beyond fucking 38, okay? Shut the fuck up. Who gives a shit what they intended, motherfucker? Who cares?
Bipartisanship. You have had a bipartisan plan to expand background
Yeah,
checks.
seriously, the founding fathers can suck my dick, dude, okay? From the back, motherfucker. I don't give a shit. I'm sick and tired of this dumb, the founders didn't intend this. Okay, sick.
For some years. We have seen, I talked to the vice president earlier in the week. I said it was 50 mass shootings in 6 weeks. Now it's up to 60.
It's awful.
In 6 weeks. More than 90% of Americans support universal background checks. So where is the urgency on this? Shouldn't this be a really important key priority for you as somebody who wants to work across the aisle?
But every time a bill comes out, Dan, every time a bill comes out, it's far in scope. We've basically took a bill way back in 2013, myself and Pat Toomey, and we worked on it and had good bipartisan support. Then we lost it right in the last week. NRA was against it. But basically, we call it common gun sense. And now we have a group working together. You've got Chris Murphy doing a great...
So what the bill he's talking about is, when that bill didn't pass, that's when my hopes for any sort of common sense gun reform happening in America just completely flew out, okay? Like, straight up. Common sense gun reform in the aftermath of that Pat Toomey, Joe Manchin bill, when that didn't pass, I was like, all right, that's it. It literally had 90% approval rating legislation built into it. Legislation such as universal background checks. Okay? 90% of the country at the time was on board with it. 75% of card-carrying NRA members were on board with it. But the NRA, like, power was so pervasive. 90% of the country was like, yeah, we should do universal background checks. I don't understand. And then, oh, why didn't it pass then? Because we don't live in a democratic process. We don't live in a democracy. It's not we've never realized it beyond a theory, okay? There's no, like, direct democracy. It just doesn't fucking matter. Senators will just literally be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. Yeah, who cares? Because America is an oligarchy. I get that some people like guns, but some people also like crystal meth, yet one is illegal. Listen, the thing is, like, people that like guns think that universal background checks should exist. People that like guns think that closing loopholes should exist. People that like guns think that, you know, there can be reasonable gun control. It doesn't matter. It's just like, I like guns. I like shooting guns. I think guns are cool. They're fun, okay? You know this already. It's ridiculous that we don't have more gun control in this country. It's psychotic. It is terrible. Imagine being against universal background checks while using your driver's license as a piece of primary ID. Yeah, like, straight up. I think guns should be similar to driver's licenses. Like, you should work your way up to, you should have different kinds of license and registration for your guns. Okay? And you should be able to work your way up and demonstrate that you know how to fucking take care of it and not fuck up with infractions or anything like that. Year over year, go back and consistently do that. I think it just absolutely makes sense. If you want, with the lowest end of the barrel being just like a regular hunting rifle. If you have like a fucking, your daddy's bolt action rifle is something that you're using to go out and hunt, like, and you want to learn how to shoot it, it's like driving your fucking dad's tractor, okay? No one is going to stress you over that. No one should stress you over that. But the moment that you want to fucking move into serious stuff, you need to be able to demonstrate that you know how to use it, learn how to fucking use it. You know what I mean? This is the stark contrast between American constitutionalism and worship of the founding fathers against Eastern practice of scientific socialism and criticizing past leaders. The latter is infinitely more democratic and less archaic. Why is it the U.S. is so obsessed with the past that is gone? The funniest part is you pick and choose. Okay? Americans don't, like, actually give a fuck about... plenty of the constitutionalists don't give a fuck about, like, the actual opinion of the founders either. If they did, they wouldn't be fucking crying about constitutional amendments or reinterpretations of the Constitution. Because if the founders were like, we can't do that, it should not be adjusted to newer conditions, then there would be no Supreme Court. There would be no reason for any of that shit. Just everybody knows how to interpret it, and that's that. Yeah. 83% of gun owners support expanded background checks on sales on all firearms, including 72% of all NRA members. That number has dropped a little bit, I guess, but yeah. This is all... Jesus Christ, Neera Tandon. What the fuck is this, dude? I can't even see the goddamn... What the fuck? Oh, God, Cap. So annoying. Anyway, we're going to get to the new census stuff in a second. You have to take a hunter safety course to get your hunting license, but you don't need a safety course to buy a gun in PA Sag. Is it a good idea to mandate training for our mass shooters, though? Yes, dude. Yes. Yes. What, you think fucking what stops mass shooters is because they know how to fucking, like they would be more proficient at doing mass shootings? Is that what you're worried about? The whole purpose is that someone who is liable or someone who is like, you know, on the fucking edge about to have a Joker moment, that person doesn't get a gun, okay? That's the whole point. You're supposed to stop them from getting a gun. It works decently well with driver's licenses. Hunters are fucking crazy as hell. Yeah, we're not saying you should be able to, like, you should go through, like, serious military training. A lot of that training should revolve around safety and proper gun care, too, because that's a huge problem. Children having access to your weapon and fucking blowing your face off or blowing their own fucking faces off. Anyway. Okay.
Great job. Chris is looking for that balance.
And is that doable? Is that balance
I sure
doable
think
right
it
now?
is doable that we can find common guns. You have to understand, law-abiding gun owners aren't going to loan their guns or sell their guns to strangers. But we have so many loopholes in the system. Can't we just fix what's broken?
That's what a lot of people are asking.
Well, that we do, but then we get a bill that has everything but that. It has that and a lot more. And you just, you know, they just can't take the common sense approach to fixing the things that are broken and then move from there.
Before I let you go,
Sure.
You crossed party lines this week. You endorsed Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski. I know she's your friend, but you disagree on a whole lot of things, from the GOP tax cut bill to the individual mandate, which you voted to repeal, Amy Coney Barrett. Why'd you endorse her?
Well, basically, when you have someone such as Lisa Murkowski, that just this solid, I'm not saying solid, looks at the issue, not afraid to make and step out and make a decision. She's done that and done it so well over many, many years. Her and I have been friends, and we've had great conversations. And there's no gotcha moment. There's no time when she's ever basically gone just along party lines for the sake of party lines. She gives it a good, strenuous thought process.
Cap.
And I think people like Lisa Murkowski should be.
Bro, this is literally, listen. Joe Manchin is literally like the perfect representation of a person who straight up is... he stands in opposition against certain fucking pieces of legislation specifically so that he can stand in opposition to it. It is absolute fucking dog shit. It is just, and he doesn't give a fuck. He likes Lisa Murkowski because she's supposed to be the reasonable middleist on the Republican side. It's just like
Senate.
being
And I want to
contrarian.
support the people that I do. I don't look at the party line saying that's...
Wouldn't that just make it so that only rich people have guns? Kind of like a poll tax? Okay. First of all, everyone shouldn't have guns. Okay. Secondly, no, it is all a matter of like the ease and access to be able to get the fucking training. Do only rich people have access to fucking cars? No. Like, it's so strange to me. Like, you're making it seem as though poor people do not fucking have the capacity to, like, drive a vehicle or some shit. And that is, again, a separate problem with driver's licenses, a separate problem with the way in which registration happens, okay, the way in which driver's licenses are issued out. Fix that part of the problem as well. You should be given training with the purchase and background check of a weapon. This making it so that nobody's buying weapons without fucking training. Exactly. Speaking of guns being in the hands of fucking wealthy people, I mean, the bigger problem with gun ownership in this country is the wealthy people owning like an arsenal anyway. Mark supported guns, though. I don't give a fuck, motherfucker. I don't give a shit that some dude who died fucking 200 years ago had a fucking take on guns that's different than mine? Suck my dick. Oh, shit, dude. Oh, damn, dude. Well, you know, I aesthetically love being a Marxist, so fuck, never mind. Let me reconsider my position on it. The same chatters that are like, oh, I don't understand how Americans like proselytize and fucking lose their minds over a bunch of dead founders will then literally turn around and be like, well, Karl Marx said this. Oh, okay. All right, then. Give everyone an AR-15 at birth then, dude. He said the proletariat should not be, should always be well-armed or whatever the fuck. I forget the quote.
It's a barrier for me. Party line, the country is what my concern is, and having the best people to make decisions. There's so much we can do together. You can't throw out. You just can't throw out the purpose of us being in the Senate. There's 2 senators for every state. Little Delaware, little Rhode Island, big California, big Texas, big New York.
Yep.
Why? They don't want the big person beating up on the little person. In the Senate, the minority always has input, and it has to stay that way.
Senator Joe Manchin, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for.
Hassan, if you're black, you're fucked because they kill you even if you comply, but also give your gun to the state. Give over your gun to the state. That's what I said. At what point did I say black people should give their guns over to the state? My take on this issue, and this is really fucking annoying, is that I am not a law abolitionist, okay? All laws under a racist criminal justice system or under a country that was founded on some fairly fucking white supremacist principles are going to always have an opportunity to be utilized disproportionately against black and brown people. But that should not stop you from fucking engaging in common sense legislation and writing fucking laws that make sense. What I find really stupid, is that people make these weird ass fucking weird ass counters like, oh, well, you know, well, this is going to be disproportionately used against black people. Okay, never mind then. Fuck it then. We should literally not do laws on murder because people say, you know, people utilize and falsely imprison black people for murders, for suspicion of murder. Anyway, this will be true with voter ID laws. What do I always say about voter ID laws? What do I always say about voter ID laws? The problem with the way the voter ID laws are utilized is that they are implemented specifically after shutting down DMVs in regions and making it harder for people to get licenses. Also, there's a difference between voting and fucking owning a gun. The argument that you should be making, if you had the fucking decency and courage in this circumstance, would be to say driver's licenses are literally oppressive towards black people because you should be able to drive a car without a fucking driver's license. That's the real argument. If you want to have a actual counter to what I'm saying, don't compare it to fucking voting. Say that driver's licenses are fucking racist if you want to operate a car, and that black people should be able to drive cars without fucking driver's licenses. Go ahead. Make that argument. Hassan be like, you got to frame the argument the way I want it. Well, because one argument doesn't make sense. The other one is literally that argument. Do you believe that, or no? Of course I don't fucking believe that. It's idiotic. Anyway, it's top of the hour. We're going to move on from Joe Manchin to the Second Amendment case. We've already briefly gotten into it, talking about it. But if you want to, ad-free broadcasting experience, all you need to do is subscribe. I'm going to run an ad right now. All right. If you want an ad-free broadcasting experience, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it for $5 or for free. Well, it's not. If black people are less affluent, they don't have access to cars and training programs, they need to get a license. What? Yeah, I know. I understand that. As a black guy, I can tell you that things for paying like licenses and taxes disproportionately affect black and brown people. I know. I get that. I understand that. But that is not a fucking reason to abolish driver's licenses. Right? Do you not get what I'm saying? No, I know. I know that driver's licenses, or being able to get a driver's license, is disproportionately something that fucking impacts poorer communities, specifically black and brown communities. This is at the heart of the argument that voter suppression exists within voter ID laws. Okay? That does not change the reasoning for why driver's licenses exist and that driver's licenses should exist to drive a car. That's a problem. That's a separate problem. Making it easier to acquire a driver's license should be the key here. Okay? Wait, are you making pro-voter ID law arguments? No, you are failing to recognize what I'm saying. There is already a system in place to check if you are a fucking legitimate voter. It's also a pretty solid system because not a lot of fucking voter fraud happens, okay? There has never been voter fraud at a level that would ever move the needle. There is no evidence to suggest that this has ever happened. Numerous studies have been conducted on this, so it's not even a fucking real issue. So adding a separate hurdle for people that want to vote is fucking silly. Adding a separate hurdle for people that want to get a gun is not, because firing a weapon is a little bit different than going out and voting. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Do you get where I'm coming from? Firing a weapon, I forgot to run the fucking ad, dude. Holy shit. Firing a weapon is different than going out and voting. Okay? Not requiring driver's licenses leads to unsafe roads and therefore more deaths. Not requiring excessive voter ID laws don't cause death. Okay? One of those is guaranteed by the amendment. I will wipe my ass with the Constitution after I shit on your mother's chest, okay? You dumb fuck. One of them is required by the Constitution. This fucking constitutional argument is so fucking brain dead, dude. Okay? Fuck the Constitution and motherfuck the founding fathers, okay? That is my point of view on this issue. Shut the fuck up, dumbass. The Constitution.
There's big news coming from the Supreme Court today, announcing this morning it will take up a major Second Amendment case. The first time in more than a decade the High Court will rule on the right to bear arms. At a time when the country is very clearly struggling and grappling with an epidemic of gun violence from coast to coast, this could be huge. CNN's Jessica Schneider is joining me right now with more on this. Jessica, what case are they taking up? What are they looking at?
Yeah, Kate, this is a case out of New York, and it involves New York's law that strictly limits who can carry guns in public. It requires anyone applying for a license to carry those concealed weapons in public to actually show what they call an actual or articulable need to carry the guns. And in fact, several other states actually have similar laws here. But the two men who actually brought this lawsuit out of New York, they say they gave good reasons that they needed a license, and they were still denied, they say. One of them requested a license for self-defense after a string of robberies in his neighborhood. Another man showed he had participated in safety training courses, but both were still denied. Now, the lower court here upheld New York's strict stance on issuing these licenses, but when this case comes before the Supreme Court, it could meet a different fate here because of the court's 6-3 conservative majority and the fact that the justices, several of them, have been quite outspoken in recent years about the Second Amendment. It was Justice Clarence Thomas recently who said that he believed the court now considered the Second Amendment, Kate, a disfavored right. We saw Justice Brett Kavanaugh say recently that the court should take up the issue soon after the court rejected a bunch of Second Amendment cases in the past year or so. And of course, all eyes will be on the newest justice, Amy Coney Barrett. She wrote an extensive opinion when she was on the Seventh Circuit that seemed to favor